Hello and welcome to the favorite uncle phenomenon, how to conduct the world's most effective three-way calls to build and support your sales team. Hi, my name is Matt DiMaio, sometimes also known as Z Maestro. And aside from my network marketing background, what is it that qualifies me to conduct such an important skills-based training? Well, I'll get into my network marketing experience in just a moment, but aside from that, I've consulted to traditional business where I've run large volume telephone sales rooms where what we sold started at $4,000 and went up to $25,000 closing business just using the power of our voice over the phone. I'm also the founder of the Maestro Method, how to learn anything and everything faster and better and remember it. And you may have heard of some of my courses: an incredible memory for names, X-ray hearing, how to develop super powerful listening skills, instant concentration, how to focus your mind in a world of information overload, and others. Up in North Jersey, where I'm originally from, I used to host my own series of local television programs. But in network marketing, I've been involved literally for decades. In fact, I got my first $10,000 commission check way back in July of 1977, and back then, 10 grand in a month was really a lot of money. In the late 80s and early 90s, I was in the top 0.1% of all the income earners for a large multinational corporation. And I've worked both in the field as well as having been a corporate executive. Sometimes because of my style of training, people have called me the Enter Trainer. And so what I'm going to be covering with you here in this course is not just something that I've used personally, but something that I've been teaching for a very long time. And it is the cornerstone of your success in network marketing, but it is one of the least understood skills to develop. So let's shine some light on it and really get into it. Now, those of you that are parents may have had the experience of talking to your kids until you're blue in the face, and sometimes their reaction is like this: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Or they do their best Helen Keller impersonation, or to update that, it's the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. But let favorite uncle or favorite auntie come over and say pretty much the same thing that you did. What happens? Right. Sometimes the kids listen like it's manna from heaven, like, wow, what great new information. And when I'm talking about favorite uncles, no, I'm not necessarily talking about this old-timer. Some of you may remember him. All right. Here's why it's important. You see, when you talk to your family, your friends, people who know you for a long time, don't be surprised when they're skeptical. They know you. They know your failures. They know your lack of experience in being an entrepreneur, or perhaps you're brand new in network marketing. You see, your job is to get rid of skepticism and help the light bulb go on in their heads. Now, you can't necessarily do this by yourself. As a matter of fact, this is such an important concept that the legal profession uses their version of a favorite uncle, and it's called a corroborating witness. You know, one witness gets on the stand and gives their story, and the jury may or may not believe it. But a second witness that gets up there and says pretty much the same thing, aha, that has a whole different level of impact. So, there are two elements that you need in order to be persuasive, and they are trust and respect. It's difficult to have both in the same person. You see, your family, your friends, the people that are your contacts, your coworkers, they may trust you. They may like you, but they may not have any respect, not for you personally, but for your accomplishments in network marketing, or your accomplishments as an entrepreneur, or your accomplishments with this particular product line. So you need both trust and respect. And when you don't have it yourself, you may have the trust element, you've got to bring somebody else in to help you with the respect element. So, I have been the victim of some pretty poor three-way calls. Maybe you have too. In fact, a long time ago, I was also the perpetrator of some pretty bad three-way calls. You know, every training class you go to in networking says you've got to be good at it, but there's woefully little training on how to be excellent at doing three-way calls. You see, It's a really simple process. A three-way call, for those of you that have never done one, is simply having three people on the phone at the same time. You, as a brand new rep, an authority figure, that's your upline or somebody that's very experienced and successful in your business, together with your prospect. Well, who needs to do these? Well, first of all, every new rep needs to do three-way calls, because new reps, that's what they look like. They're chewing their fingernails to the bone. They're nervous. They're scared. They're afraid they're not going to be persuasive. They don't really know what to say. They're afraid of that failure. But you know what? It's not just the newest reps that need this. I have discovered that the most experienced, most successful reps in network marketing all do three-way calls. They don't rely just on themselves. Even if they have the ability to persuade somebody, they want to show that there's a support system in place. You see, this is all about teamwork, not salesmanship. In order to have teamwork, you need to show that there's a team at play and you're not just a good salesperson. That's not duplicatable. Doing three-way calls is. So we're going to talk about what do you do before the call, during the call, and after the call. So before the call, you want to select your calling partners. And you may want to pick from your upline. Now, don't think of your upline as just your sponsor. They may be as new as you are and may not have any experience. Get a list of who are the top money earners that earn an override on you. Help them earn their override on you. You also want to find out what their backgrounds are. You know, who's an accountant, who's got medical experience, who's an engineer, who's had success in traditional business. You see, sometimes you're going to want to match up people's backgrounds with each other. Have accountants talk to other accountants. Have people with a medical background talk to other people with a medical background, and so on. So find out a little bit about what their traditional work experience is. It'll help you. Now, it won't always be you won't always have the ability to do that. No matter what, the person that you're going to select to be your calling partner, your favorite uncle or favorite auntie, as it were, needs to be an authority figure, somebody that's had some level of success with your company. Now, eventually, and hopefully pretty soon, that's going to be you. So we're going to take this from the point of view of you being a brand new rep, and then we're going to flip it around and talk about, all right, you're the one who's now the favorite uncle or favorite auntie, and you're the authority figure. All right, so now, here you are as a brand new rep. What you want to do is you want to schedule a time for your calls. You see, I actually want you to take a notebook and jot this stuff down, or put it in your planner, or keep it digitally, but have actual times scheduled. It's not a good idea to try and ambush people. Now, before the call starts, you want to tell your calling partner about your prospect. So you want to preview their background to your calling partner. What sort of work background do they have? How do you know each other? What do they know about the business so far? And the flip side is you want to definitely talk to your prospect about who your calling partner is. And this is where posturing will really help you out. You want to indicate to your prospect how fortunate they are to be speaking to your calling partner. They are a busy individual who has a lot of success, and we may be able to get a few minutes with them. So you want to build up your calling partner to your prospect before you get them on the phone to set the stage. Now, during the call, have your calling partner standing by. You don't want to have your prospect on the phone and find out your calling partner's on another call. They're out mowing the lawn. They're taking a bath. They're doing something with the kids. Then, once you know your calling partner is standing by, call your prospect. Get them on the telephone and introduce the two of them to each other. Once you've done that, here's something very important. Shut up. Zip it. Anything you say as a brand new rep at this point will be wrong, so keep it zipped. All right. When you are the calling partner, okay, we're going to flip this around now. All right, so you've now gotten some experience. You're the calling partner. What is it that you're going to do? Well, first, you want the prospect to do most of the talking first. Prospects are afraid of being pitched. Isn't that what you'd be concerned about? So if you let the prospect do most of the talking first, where's the pitch? There isn't one. And ask them, how do you two know each other? That's a great way to get started, even if you know the answer. Oh, by the way, if you're the brand new rep, please don't jump in and answer the question. Let the prospect do most of the talking. By the way, this will give you an opportunity to know how much their defenses are up, how much they're on guard. If somebody's answering you in just one-word sentences, you know their guard is up. And what you want to listen for, or what you want to bring out of people, are places where you can connect with them. What sort of work experience do they have? Where do they live? Where are they located? What kind of interests do they have separate from business? Do they have kids? What do their kids do? And you want to take notes on these different connection points, because when it's your turn, you're going to begin by telling your story. Do not launch into a pitch about the company. Connect as a human being. If they've got kids and you do too, talk about your kids first. If you're familiar with the same city that they're living in, talk a little bit about that. If you have a similar work background, start with that. But you're going to tell the story of how you got into the business and what your success is so far. Be human with people. Now, a great way to get the conversation on track is to ask exploration questions. You see, you need to know where you're starting from. If I were going to invite you to a party at my house, the directions would change based on where you are. Even though the destination doesn't change, the directions will, based on where the prospect is starting from. So that's what you need to know. Ask, what do you know about our business so far? That'll give you a great handle. Also, what is it that appeals to you about this? And what information are you most interested in getting? Now, sometimes they may not know the answer to that last question, in which case you have free rein to cover the topics in whatever order you like. But sometimes they have an agenda. Hey, here's what I want to know about. Here's what I'm skeptical about. So better to know that up front, because the goal is to speak into their listening. All right. You want to respond with appropriate information. There's nothing worse than talking to somebody on the other end of the phone and they're off on a different tangent, and you've had this happen. The salesperson is rambling on and on about something that you don't care about. So you need to respond with what's important to them. And there's 3 areas you want to focus on: the product, the company, and the pay plan. But if they want to hear about product, don't go launching into a dissertation about pay plan. That's a great idea. Stick with the product. Sometimes they want to know who the executives of the company are. Cover that first, and then you can steer them into the other areas. The goal is to speak into their listening. Talk about what they want to hear first, and then lead them into what you want to cover. Now, you want to ask some closing questions after you've covered some of this information. So after you've covered some of the things about speaking into their listening, ask them, what do you like best so far? Now, you've probably heard that question before. But you know what? Just asking that question isn't enough. What do you like best so far? And when they answer, you say, why? That cements their answer into place, because it gets them talking about why they liked it. In other words, they're not just selling you, they're selling themselves. And now you want to do your first close. Some of you may call this your trial close. Sounds to me like you're ready to get started. Pause and wait for a response. Well, sounds to me like you're ready to get started. Wait for a response. And then say something innocuous like, what's your mailing address? Where do you want us to ship your kit? How do you want your check made out? All right. Now, they may not necessarily bite on the first close. So it's going to be tough to ask the same closing question over and over again. So here's a couple of alternatives. Here's some more closing questions. So after you've covered now some of the other information, so let's get started working together, okay? By the way, I love using okay. It's a reflex answer. Okay? Okay. Okay? Okay. So let's get started working together, okay? Okay. Here's another one. For people that don't necessarily close right now, you might ask them, what do you see as the next step? Throw the ball in their court. What do you see as the next step? Let them lead the way. Let them tell you how close they are. This is a great question because now you'll know just what it is that they need to have happen in order to do business with you. And here's one of my favorite questions. Now, this may or may not fit your personality, but I love this one. How soon do you want to get paid? You know, there's really two common answers to that question. I ask, so how soon do you want to get paid? First answer, right away. The second most common answer is yesterday. So when you ask somebody, how soon do you want to get paid? And they go, yesterday. You go, you know, I was on a training class with a guy with a very trimmed mustache who told me you might say that. So, all right, what do you do after the call? All right, so after the call is over, the value is not done. First, you need to remember that the fortune is in the follow-up. You need to follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. What do you suppose the next two words are? Right, follow up. Review the call with people. Review the call with your upline, or if you're the calling partner upline, review the call with your new rep and discuss what was covered. There's a lot of value in reviewing the call together. Decide on the best course of action. Who's going to send out the email to follow up? Who's going to make a telephone appointment or schedule an appointment with another authority figure? Or what is it that needs to be done now and who's going to do it? And then go ahead and make another call. All right, we've covered a lot of information. So we've talked about what to do. Let's now talk about what not to do. Have you ever talked to people and they go, hey, my business is exploding. Yeah, they blew themselves up. Let's find out where things can go wrong. All right, the very first landmine is to ambush your people. Do not ambush your calling partner. Do not ambush your prospect. For example, there's been times I've been on the phone with somebody who calls me up to pitch me on their deal. It's been a while since I talked to them. We're on the phone for 5 or 6 minutes, and all of a sudden, they tell me, oh, by the way, I've got my upline partner on the phone with me, and here they were, listening in silence. I thought I was having a private conversation, and suddenly I find out some strangers on the line. I find that personally offensive. I've been known to hang up on people for doing that to me. Do not ambush your prospects. Do not ambush your calling partner. And what I mean by that is, wherever possible, give your calling partner a heads up that you're likely to be getting them on the phone for a three-way call. You don't want to catch them when they're running out the door to do something with the family. You put them in an awkward position of having to reject you, and that gives you a bad impression for your prospect, and it just doesn't make anybody look good. Wherever possible, try and set it up in advance. Sometimes you can catch people on the fly. That's great if that's the agreement you've got with your calling partner. Just be careful of the ambush. All right. Have you ever been on the phone and somebody calls you up and they're pitching you on their deal? And oh my goodness, they don't let you get a word in as edgewise. They go on and on and on. And this is your reaction. It's like, what? Help, what? What are you doing? The most serious mistake any salesperson can make is to pitch without knowing enough about your prospect. I can't tell you the amount of times people will call me up to tell me about the newest, the latest, the greatest, the hottest, and never ask, hey, Matt, what are you up to? What projects are you involved in? Did I catch you at a good time? Please do not pitch people until you had an opportunity to find out a little bit about what's going on with them first. Here's another one, giving unwanted or irrelevant information. If they want to talk about pay plan, talk about pay plan, not product. If they want to talk about the company executives, don't go off on some tangent. They will tune you right out. Do not break appointments. it damages your credibility, both with keep your appointments with your prospects and with your calling partners. And if you're the calling partner, oh my goodness, do not let your new rep down by blowing an appointment. Please take some good notes, keep an appointment book. And do not take call waiting during a presentation. This is one of my pet peeves. I can't believe the amount of times I'm on the phone with somebody and they're telling me about their hot new deal, and in the middle of them giving me a presentation, they go, oh, hold on a second, Matt, I gotta take this other call. What? Nothing says I am unimportant more than that. Holy mackerel. Please do not do that. If you've ever done it in the past, just a little heads up there. All right, here's another landmine. Not taking notes. I learned a long time ago that a short pencil is better than a long memory. Look, if you're talking to 10, 15, 20, 30 people, I will tell you that the information is all going to start to blur together about who you talked to, how you were supposed to follow up, what you discussed, what the details are, the information about their family and their work background. Take good notes. Keep a diary. I don't care if it's on paper or in a digital format, but have some way of recording the information. All right, we have covered a lot of ground in this short presentation. We have now not only told you what to do, we've also shown you exactly where the landmines are, and we've given you a clear roadmap to your success. Remember, pay attention or pay the price. Folks, thanks so much for joining me. Remember that every good preacher needs a good amener. Can I get an amen? Amen, Brother Matt. You bet. Well, this is Matt DiMaio wishing you the habits of the rabbits. Go forth and multiply. Thanks for joining us.